At this point in YouTube history, everyone's seen a video about dumb apps that made millions. Candy Crush, Flappy Bird, the usual suspects. But this video is different. We're covering apps so stupid, so beautifully unhinged, that even the developers couldn't explain why they worked. Oh yeah, and this list gets crazier as it goes on. Let's begin. First up, I am rich. And no, that's not me describing myself because I am broke as hell. That's the actual name of an actual app that you could actually buy on the App Store in 2008 for the low price of $999.99. What did it do? Well, using the theory of relativity, quantum mechanics, and Newton's third law, this app did what other apps couldn't. This app did nothing. Yeah, it just displayed a glowing red gem. That's it. That's the app. For $1,000, you got a JPEG of a ruby and a misspelled Sanskrit mantra that was supposed to make you feel enlightened, but mostly just made you feel like you'd been robbed by a German art student. Speaking of, the developer, Armin Heinrich, defended it as a work of art with no hidden function at all. Translation: I made nothing, you paid for nothing, this is fine. Apple pulled it within 24 hours. But not before 8 people bought it. 2 of them immediately called Apple in tears, begging for a refund, including this legendary review. I saw this app with a few friends, and we jokingly clicked buy, thinking it was a joke, to see what would happen. This is no joke! Do not buy this app! And Apple, please remove this from the App Store! Sir, you click the $1,000 button to see what would happen. What did you think was going to happen? Next up, we have an app called We Croak. Imagine you wake up in the morning to a red frog appearing on your notifications just to tell you, don't worry, you are going to die. And if you're sitting there thinking, that is completely illogical, congratulations, you have the emotional maturity of a normal person. Unfortunately, the developer wasn't normal. WeCroak is an app that sends you 5 push notifications a day, reminding you that you are going to die. That's it. That's the product. 5 times a day, your phone buzzes, you reach for it expecting a text from a friend or a delivery update, and instead you get, don't forget, you're going to die, open for a quote. Have a great Tuesday. The whole thing is based on a Bhutanese folk saying that to be a happy person, one must contemplate death 5 times daily. Not 4, not 6, 5. Bhutan apparently ran the numbers on this. But the origin story is where it gets unhinged. Co-founder Hansa Bergwall was reading a 5th century Buddhist scholar named Buddhaghosa, got obsessed with death meditation, and then a developer rented his spare room on Airbnb. He pitched the death app to his Airbnb tenant. They built it together. A literal stranger who needed somewhere to sleep is now responsible for haunting 2 million people via push notification. It hit the top health and fitness chart within 6 weeks. Apparently, reminding people of their own mortality is, medically speaking, a workout. And the reviews are genuinely incredible. One 5-star review reads, and I quote, I literally never write reviews for anything whatsoever, but besides the Holy Quran, this has to be one of the best apps I've ever downloaded. Sir, you just ranked a notification spammer second to a holy book. On the other hand, this guy specifically made an account with the username WeCroakSucks just to tell the developer that the quotes are bad. And that, folks, is what peak unemployment looks like. Another user admitted he had 10 stacked death reminders on his lock screen and usually just deletes them. So he paid $2 a month to ignore his own mortality. That's just life with extra steps. Yo, what's up, man? That sounds too long. How about just what's up? Nah, still too long. How about just yo? Just yo? Well, that makes no sense. Exactly. That's exactly what the developer of the Yo app was thinking. The app, the whole app, the entire product. Yo is a messaging app with exactly one function. You tap a contact, and it sends them the word yo. That's all it does. You can't reply with anything else. You can't add a photo. You can't type yo, what's up? Just yo. The audio that plays is the developer's own voice, recorded by him, presumably into a laptop mic, at 2 in the morning in Tel Aviv. The developer, or Arbel, built it in 8 hours because his CEO wanted a one-tap way to ping his wife and assistant without starting a real conversation. So Yo exists because a rich Israeli tech executive didn't want to talk to his own wife. Beautiful. Truly the foundation of every great startup story. Apple initially rejected it for lacking substance. Arbel argued back that the lack of substance was the substance. Apple, presumably exhausted, said fine. Then it got $1 million in venture capital funding. Then another $1.5 million. At its peak, it was valued at $10 million for an app that says yo. Somewhere, a man with a finance degree signed off on this and went home to his family. Then it got weirder. Georgia Tech students hacked it within days of launch. Did Arbel sue them? No, he hired one of them. Then, a completely separate developer used Yo's API to build a real-time missile alert system for Israel that genuinely saved lives. So the dumbest app ever made accidentally became life-saving infrastructure. You cannot script this. By 2016, the whole company was basically just Arbol running on autopilot. So what did he do? He opened a Patreon to crowdfund server costs. A $2.5 million venture-backed app ended up begging strangers for hosting money on the same platform people use to fund their cosplay photography. Truly, the full circle of capitalism. In an interview, Arbol said the biggest problem was that some users don't get it and think it's a joke. Sir, it says Yo. It only says Yo. They are correct. This next one, I genuinely had to read 3 times before I believed it was real. The app is called Places I've Pooped, and it does exactly what you're terrified it does. You open the app, hit a button, and it drops a GPS pin at your current location every time you poop. Now, your friend Dave can see your poop location and challenge you to a poop duel to determine the best pooper. They're called bombs in the app, because of course they are. Over time, you build a personal world map of every toilet you've ever used. It's like Pokemon Go, but the Pokemon is your own feces, and the gym is a Cracker Barrel bathroom off I-95. But here's the part that broke me. It's not just a private log. It has a social feed. You can follow your friends. You can like and comment on their poop pins. You can attach photos to the location. There is a feed somewhere right now showing newly pooped locations across the world in real time. The app is rated 9+ on the App Store, which means a 9-year-old is technically allowed to participate in this. The man behind it runs a registered company in the UAE whose entire business purpose is geotagging human waste. Somewhere there is a server farm humming away, dutifully storing terabytes of poop coordinates, and he's paying the electricity bill. It hit 2 million users. It was the #1 entertainment app in the US and Canada. Entertainment. That was the category. And the reviews are why I'm not okay. One user wrote, "I would also like to be able to see my friends' poops listed when I click on their name." Another said, "It has given my life new meaning as I am attempting to use every restroom on the campus." Your work, sir. And my personal favorite, "I've always dreamed of competing with friends on who has pooped the most places. Thank you." Pooping has become a hobby for some people ever since this app came into their life. And a 4.2 rating for a poop tracker is not so bad. One committed user hit the 100-pin limit after 2 years and left a furious 1-star review in all caps. Scandalous! Does this not defeat the whole purpose of the app? Sir, you documented 100 poops. You're the problem. Before we get to the last entry on this list, 2 quick notes. 1, yes, there's a part 2 coming, and I promise it's somehow worse. 2, if you've made it this far, hit the like button. It costs you nothing, takes 1 tap, and unlike app number 1, won't charge you $999. With that out of the way, let's get into it. The next app is called Am I Going Down? And no, it's not what your search history thinks it is. It's worse. It's a flight anxiety app. You enter your flight details, airline, aircraft model, and route, and it calculates the exact statistical odds your plane will crash. That's it. That's the pitch. It was built by a London developer named Nick Johns for his wife, who was scared of flying. A sweet origin story. His solution to her fear of dying in a plane crash was to build her an app that calculates how likely she is to die in a plane crash. That's not therapy. That's a haunting with the UI. But the cursed part, the actually unbelievable part, is the timing. He started building it in February 2014. That is the exact month Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared and was never found. He submitted it to Apple in December 2014. 2 weeks later, AirAsia flight QZ8501 crashed into the Java Sea. He called both events unfortunate timing. Unfortunate timing. The universe sent you 2 flaming signals from the sky and you launched the app anyway. In a Newsweek interview, he admitted something genuinely chilling. He said, "I wasn't sure how many people downloaded it to calm their anxiety versus how many downloaded it out of morbid curiosity." Translation, he doesn't know if he built a wellness tool or a doom-scrolling machine for ghouls, and he never figured it out. The app is still live, still 99 cents, still calculating. Somewhere, right now, a man on a layover is paying $1 to find out exactly how scared he should be. And finally, we have the dream app for introverts, Cloak. Marketed with zero irony as the antisocial network, or as the press called it, incognito mode for real life. Here's the concept. Cloak pulled location data from your friends' Instagram and Foursquare posts, mapped where everyone you knew currently was, and helped you physically avoid them in the real world. That was the entire product, not a meeting app, an anti-meeting app. It was built by a guy named Brian Moore, who moved to New York and kept running into his ex-girlfriend. 4 times in 6 months. Did he change his routine? No. Did he move neighborhoods? No. He built an app. Venture-backed avoidance. The American dream. But his co-founder, Chris Baker, is the real villain origin story here. His previous apps were, and I'm not making any of this up, unbaby.me, which automatically replaced every baby photo on your Facebook feed with pictures of cats or bacon. And Hate with Friends, where you secretly mark Facebook friends you hate, and if they also mark you, you both get a notification confirming the mutual hatred. A built-in confrontation engine. So his portfolio is hide the babies, confirm the hatred, avoid the humans. This man's entire career is just, what if social media? But no. Cloak got 100,000 users in the first week, partly thanks to a Jimmy Fallon shoutout, and then it died in the most poetic way possible. Instagram and Foursquare locked down their AP for privacy reasons. Cloak quietly lost the ability to track anyone. It didn't announce a shutdown, it didn't send a farewell email, it just stopped working and faded away. The antisocial app ended antisocially. No goodbye, no closure, exactly as designed. Baker once told the Washington Post, Twitter and Facebook are packed elevators where we're all crammed in together. Antisocial stuff is on the rise. He said that in 2014. He was, unfortunately, completely correct. I believe even the most chronically online people out there haven't heard of at least one of the apps I mentioned on this list. But if not, don't worry. This is just the tip of the iceberg because, like I mentioned earlier, there is a part 2 ready to go. So make sure to like and subscribe the channel so you don't miss out on it. And trust me, it will have even more bizarre apps than these.